And now, live from New York City via Los Angeles, California, it's time for The View from Over Here with the man who has a view for all seasons, your host, Stan Weisleder.
Somehow I have a feeling I'd like the whole theme to run through the whole symphony and forget about the show. Anyway, Stan, good morning.
Just listen to Gershwin.
That's it. It could be the Gershwin hour.
Yeah, I'm tempted. There are days. Maybe this is one of those days because on the news of the week, I'm sad, and I think you're sad that we have to announce the passing away of two icons in this business. One of them is Joe Franklin.
Introduce our show first.
I think people already know the show.
No, but we have all our new listeners.
I forgot about the new listeners. Please excuse me, all you new listeners out there. This is Stan Weisleder on The View from Over Here, broadcast on crntalk.com. And I am in the studio with Malcom Burman to give you the news and whatever entertainment we have for you today.
Okay.
But the news, like I started to say, we have to announce the passing away of two icons. One of them is Joe Franklin. He's the man who practically invented the radio TV interview, like we do. He also invented the TV interview, which we don't do. Mm-hmm. And here is a guy who probably interviewed some 32,000 people in his lifetime.
Yeah, well, we had the honor of being probably one of his last interviews.
Yeah, we had him on our show on December 30th. Probably the last broadcast that he did other than his own.
Yeah, well, you were there in the studios live. How did he look? Did he look ill?
He looked okay when I saw him, when we taped him. He looked good. And, he's been on the show a couple of times. He looked fine. There was no inkling of his getting sick or anything, but what the hell, things happen. And when I got this email from a buddy of his in New York, from Arnold, he told me that Joe died. I said, wow. It was almost like a shock. And he died from prostate cancer. And funny thing, he said to Arnold that if he dies, because there was still, he had hope. He said, if I die, I want it on my tombstone to say, I'll be back after a short intermission.
After a short break. It reminds me of W.C. Fields, I think has something similar to this on him tombstones. Everything considered, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Another individual who passed away, and this also came as a shock. My wife Marilyn was home and she got a call from Marge, his wife. Stan Irwin passed away maybe a day or two after Joe did. And for those of you out there who don't know Stan Irwin, he was an icon also in the entertainment business from Las Vegas in the 50s up until the 90s. He was also at one time the producer of the Johnny Carson show. He was Johnny Carson's tennis partner. The guy also was a pilot during World War II. He was such a good pilot, they didn't send him overseas. He stayed behind as an instructor to teach other pilots how to fly.
Well, I actually never heard of him until you had mentioned you had spoken about him a few weeks ago about seeing if you can get together with him to do a book.
I wanted to get together with him to do his biography, but time being as it is, just never got to it. And
well, now you might have to speak to his wife about it.
I will. I intend to.
But I read his background in an obit in yesterday's Times. Quite impressive.
Yes.
And I had never heard of him, but good friend of Carson, a producer of the show. He hung out with the Rat Pack.
Well, they can't even. His wife Marge can't even set up the funeral yet because of all the people that he knew, and that will be coming in from all over the country. So normally, he would have been buried by now, but it's going to be put off a couple of weeks.
He might be buried.
If
he's Jewish?
Permanent review like Lenin or Stalin? I don't think so.
Well, have we told Rabbi Cutler about this? I think he knows all.
That's up to Marge. I don't know if she wants him or if she called him or what. I know Jerry Cutler knows everybody, and I'm sure he knew Stan Irwin. But again, it's up to Marge and what she wants to do. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the news. It's not all depressing. Do you ever wonder what Obama was talking about when he was referring to the middle class? It bugged me, and finally was able to find. In fact, I asked you that question.
Right.
And it refers to those people or families that earn from $35,000 to $100,000. Now, when I was a little kid, those numbers represented the upper class. So I guess times have changed.
Well, the times have changed a lot. When you were a kid, how much did they charge for gasoline?
Oh, I remember 20 cents a gallon.
20 cents a gallon. It's a little bit changed now.
Well, it got down now. It's down $1.99 in some parts of the country.
Yeah. But do you know to go to certain private schools, elementary schools in California, in Los Angeles, it's like $35,000 to $40,000 a term a year?
Yeah.
Well,
some people have it. And I'm not going to mention any names on the air, but I know a number of people that went through that and are doing it.
It could be somebody very close to you.
Yes, but no names mentioned. Anyway, listen, did you see that thing on the news about the drone that crashed on the White House lawn?
Yes.
No, we've been talking about that for a year now, but nobody listened to us. And that is with the proliferation of drones, something like this would eventually happen. A terrorist would get a hold of one. Now, fortunately, this errant drone was not in the hands of the terrorists, nor did it carry any explosives on board. But what if it did? And then all it has to contain is maybe 1 or 2 ounces of explosives. Just think about it. And, a drone. It's a potential terror implement like you can't imagine.
Yeah, I thought this was over the White House, in certain areas, is a fly-free zone. Where
Malcom,
no one can fly over.
You don't even have to kill anyone. You get one of these gadgets. They cost about $1,100 list, brand new. You can buy used ones for less than that. Put a couple of ounces of C4 in there. Fly it over anywhere, particularly an outdoor sports venue. You don't even have to kill a single person. All you have to do is blow it up, and it will have its intended effect to cause terror.
It's true. Welcome to the modern world.
Well, it's the modern world, and also it's a democratic world.
Democratic meaning Democratic Party, or?
Democratic meaning that people have rights. Terrorists have rights. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Okay, but let's not dwell on that too much because that could be a whole 2-hour program in itself and would still never finish.
Let's get to our entertainment segment of
yes.
it. Let's lighten up. Do we have Jonas on the line? Jonas, are you there?
I don't know how much I'm going to lighten things up. But,
oh, my God, because I'm about to cry.
Give it a try, Jonas. Come on.
I'm going to add to it because I've been watching the HBO documentary on Night Will Fall.
Oh, I saw that also.
As I'm sure you've already mentioned, today is the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, which matters heavy to everybody, but really matters to me because both my grandparents were in Auschwitz, and I lost quite a lot of my family in Auschwitz. So I've been watching it, and it's harrowing. I mean, it's just a reminder of what humanity can cause. It's just terrorizing to watch.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I had never seen that footage before. It was taken by the British forces when they liberated.
Yeah, and Hitchcock was actually leading the brigade on this as far as the filming goes.
Yeah, I didn't see Auschwitz. I saw Belsen.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's on HBO. You're going to want to catch that to remind yourself of what we fight for when we fight for liberty and protection of humanity.
Right. But how do you explain the large swath of people, and I'm talking about people of the Muslim faith, that want this material removed from school curriculums because they say it never happened?
Well, then they're full of shit because I live with my family, and yes, it happened.
Well, how can they deny it when they see the pictures? But I think it was Billy Wilder who eventually did the American version said, right, no matter what we do, they said it's going to be a Hollywood production full of extras done, influenced by the Jews.
Yeah, well,
when Eisenhower first saw the camps, he said, let's get this all down on film because years from now, people will say it never happened.
You can delude yourself all you want. The reality is the reality.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I do have to ask my liberal friends, since I'm only hearing the news from the Fox people, what is the reasoning why Obama is not going to the commemoration today?
Because I don't know, because he's in Saudi Arabia.
Well, not exactly a choice I would have done, but I just want to know what to tell my parents when they go after me.
Yeah, but that's a good question.
Also this week, I caught a few of the movies that people have been talking about. Finally saw Boyhood. 2 hours and 45 minutes of a boy growing up. Thought it was a very interesting idea. Parts of it worked. For the most part, I felt like I was watching someone else's home movies for 3 hours. Yes, the boy is quite outstanding. His name is Eller Coltrane, and as I'm sure people already know, Richard Linklater picked him when he was a little boy, had no idea he was going to grow up into a talented actor, and kept this kid in his role for all these years, creating 15-minute segments at every age. It's an interesting story. It's just pretty much a slice of life of a family, a mother raising the kids alone because the father is sort of a slacker, played by the ultimate slacker, Ethan Hawke. Mm-hmm. Patricia Arquette is winning quite a few rewards as the mother. She is good. I don't know if I would have picked her as Best Supporting Actress, but other people smarter than me obviously had different ideas. Also saw Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The reason I saw that is because I've been watching Agent Carter, which is on ABC right now. It's a long Marvel miniseries running for, I think, 8 weeks, but don't hold me to that. And the girl that is in that who plays Agent Carter, Haley Atwell, is so intriguing. I wanted to see the movie that she was in, and this is the second in the Captain America series. And to tell you how much I enjoyed it, I realized at the point where I wanted to fall asleep that there still was another 40 minutes left. And even though I had already seen an hour and 40 minutes, I said, I'm tired, I'm going to bed.
But how do you really feel, Jonas?
I didn't even care. After investing an hour and 40 minutes in it, I didn't care to spend the last 40 minutes. I was done. I felt it was just all shoot-'em-up stuff. The directors are Anthony and Joe Russo, who've written a lot of episodes of Community. I think they were one of the creators of Community. On NBC, they wrote a lot of Arrested Development, which is one of my favorite shows. I felt like this movie had very little of the wit that I would expect from the two of them. Mm-hmm. Very disappointing movie. On the theater side, I saw Company up in Thousand Oaks for the Cabrera Music Theater, up at the Thousand Oaks Center. This is obviously Stephen Sondheim's 1971 musical about deteriorating marriage in the 70s.
The 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
Yeah, well, but this was filmed or made in 71, and it still has that kind of lure. There was 2 star-making roles in this show. The character of Joanne, that was played originally by Elaine Stritch, who has obviously one of the most famous songs, The Ladies Who Lunch. Here it's played by Tracy Lore, who is outstanding. She's done a lot of great stuff in L.A. She's played the drowsy chaperone. I've seen her twice play that role in several theaters. She also played Frau Wucher in Young Frankenstein, the musical, at Musical Theater West. She's one of my favorite of the L.A. actresses, and she's wonderful in this role. She's acerbic and lonely and angry and really fills the role out. The other role that's amazing, that's played fantastic, is the role of Amy.
Quickly, Jonas, we're running out of time.
Played by Shelley Regner. She has Not Getting Married Today, which, of course, is a tongue twister of a number. She's fabulous. She's actually wonderful.
Anyway, we're out of time, Jonas. Unless you can stay with us, which I know you can't.
But my love to everybody. And
okay, speak to you next week.
Speak to you next week.
Okay, thank you. You're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on CRNTalk.com.
A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder. There were 4 squadrons of black fighter pilots during World War II that had to fight 2 air forces in order to gain recognition, the Luftwaffe and the U.S. Army Air Corps. The HBO special and the recent attempt at a full-length feature film do not come close to the full and true story of these brave men. They were not ball players, they were not rap singers, they were fighter pilots and American heroes in the truest sense. A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder.
Experience a luxury boutique hotel escape in the heart of Laguna Beach, California. With the finest art galleries, shopping, dining, and nightlife just steps from your door. The heart of Laguna Beach, the edge of the sea. It's the Inn at Laguna Beach. Enjoy our comfortable rooms, blending the style of a timeless beach bungalow with the modern comforts of today. 70 newly appointed guest rooms and suites await you at the Inn at Laguna Beach. Then, relax at the rooftop bar, where you'll indulge in breathtaking views of the ocean. For dining, you'll find libations and local cuisine on the California coastline, including dining at the legendary Las Brisas, a Southern California landmark. The Inn at Laguna Beach, footsteps from room to village to sea, located in the heart of Laguna Beach. The Inn is within walking distance of all that Laguna Beach has to offer. No car required. The Inn at Laguna Beach, 211 North Coast Highway in Laguna Beach, California. Call 800-544-4479 or visit innatlagunabeach.com.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Someday there'll be a cure. Someday we won't lose the people we love. But when is someday? Someday is today. Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, hundreds of thousands diagnosed with blood cancer are today living a normal life. We're making cures happen. Join us. Call 888-HELP-LLS. Go to LLS.org. Help us reach today sooner.
Time to take it away.
Time to take it away.
We welcome Nancy Spielberg, the producer of Above and Beyond.
Excuse me, you forgot to introduce yourself again.
I'm not important. I want to talk about the producer of this remarkable film.
Okay, I acquiesce to your wishes.
Nancy is our special guest on The View from Over Here. She made an inspiring documentary that tells the story of the beginnings of the Israeli Air Force at a time when almost the entire world was against them and they were besieged on all sides, where the predicted outcome was definitely not in their favor. And this is one film you cannot miss. I've seen clips of it, and I actually got choked up. Nancy, how are you today?
I'm great. I love it to hear that people cry. That's not nice of me, but I like to hear that people get choked up from this film.
Well, we would like to know how you came, what possessed you, what inspiration did you get to take on this project and tell this incredible story? How long did it take? Everything about it that you can say.
Well, I'm a talker, so how long do we have?
Okay, we have about 5 minutes now, and then we have about 35 minutes after our break.
Okay,
so,
well, I will tell you that the inspiration was an obituary that I read in the fall of 2011, and the obituary was titled "The Father of the Israeli Air Force Dies," and it was about Al Schwimmer. and it described this man, an American TWA flight engineer, who was credited for smuggling planes and recruiting his buddies to go to Israel. And he brought these first planes to Israel and fighting and flying in Israel's War of Independence. And he was indicted, and it had all these incredible unknown aspects to this story.
So they had during the what was in 47, 48?
Well, he started in 47. Yeah, I mean, it was before Israel was going to be voted into statehood. Everybody knew there was going to be a war. It was going to be attacked by all the surrounding armies and had no way to defend itself. And Al Schwimmer saw that and said, if they don't have an air force, that's it. They're never going to make it. So he did something about it. He and Ben-Gurion were of like minds, that they both saw the need, mostly since the Egyptians had a tremendous air force. The British left all their spoils. They had Spitfires. I think the British sold them Spitfires. The Iraqi had a tremendous force. The Jordanians had a tremendous force. And Israel had a few, small Piper Cubs.
And where did they get their fighter planes from?
Interestingly, the only country that would sell fighter planes to Israel was Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Were they leftover German planes, or what were they?
They were Czechoslovakian-made Messerschmitts, which were so that's sort of ironic that these pilots were flying for Israel German-made planes. The same ones they were trying to shoot down in World War II, they were suddenly flying in Israel's War of Independence. And they would take these Messerschmitts and disassemble them and stuff them in the back of the C-46 cargo planes that Schwimmer had smuggled out and fly them into Israel like that because, they had no fuel. You couldn't go far in a fighter plane. And then they'd reassemble them on the other side.
Who paid for these fighter planes?
Excuse me?
Who paid for the fighter planes?
The Israelis paid for them, but they paid for them with money that the American Jewish community had amassed. There was a tremendous effort in the United States to do something to help Israel.
Do you have any info on what it cost for one of those leftover World War II planes?
I know I should know that, and I'm not sure. For some reason, I'm thinking it was $25,000 possibly. I mean, of course, it cost a lot more when these planes were fresh. But the Czechoslovakian version of the Messerschmitts were not great. They were actually outfitted with an engine from a heavy bomber, so it threw the whole plane off. And I think there were more losses of life and crashes, not from war, not from combat, but just from crappy planes.
Well, we're coming up to a break, but my question is, who piloted the planes?
These American guys.
The American guys?
All volunteers. Yep. Were they all Jewish or were they mixed?
They were mixed, predominantly Jewish, and there were also volunteers from many other countries outside of the U.S. It was an effort that was altogether 4,000 volunteers went to Israel. Only 180 were in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. South Africans played a big part also.
Okay, Nancy, this is a short
break.
We have a break.
You stay by your whatever, and you're going to finish up the program with us.
Okay, you're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on crntalk.com. And stay tuned because we'll be right back with Nancy Spielberg to find out more about her documentary,
Above and Beyond.
Safety, safety, safety. I'm saying it 3 times. Studies show you need to hear something 3 times to remember it. So remember, safety, safety, safety is important to me, me, me. That's why I love Grainger. Grainger has the products to help keep our facilities safe and people safer. Say it with me, kid. Safety, safety, safety from Grainger, Grainger, Grainger. When you think safety, think Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, folks. This is Larry Minetti. And many of you out there suffer from skin problems. Well, I've been telling you for months how to solve that problem. It's called Herpantocin. It's the most unique and effective formula on the market. It cleans your skin from the inside out. It gets rid of all kinds of acne on your back, your neck, your face, so you can feel and you could look like a movie star. Herpanasin is a natural supplement. It was created by Dr. Wayne Diamond and his staff, and trust me, this really works. I've been on these supplements for over a year now and never had a problem. There is no reason in the world to wake up and be afraid to look in the mirror. You trust Larry. Just try it. Call 888-467-4200. 888-467-4200.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Times are different than they were when Geico started saving people money over 75 years ago. Everybody takes photos of their food nowadays. You can bet none of us kids would snap pictures of Mom's tuna casserole surprise. To this day, we don't know what the surprise was, nor do we want to. We didn't always have tasty food, but we always had great car insurance with Geico.
Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years.
Introduce yourself and the show.
Okay, we're back. I'm not important. Our guest is important.
Nope,
but anyway, okay. This is Stan Weisleder on The View from Over Here, broadcast on crntalk.com. I'm in the studio with Malcom Burman, with our special guest today, who's really the one who we have to talk about, and that is Nancy Spielberg. Nancy, we have a bunch of questions for you. The first one is, do you have showings coming up of the movie that we can see, that anybody could see?
Yes. We are opening actually in theaters in limited cities. We're opening in New York January 30th. We're opening in Los Angeles February 6th. And we're opening in South Florida February 13th. And then we'll go on from there. And the best thing is actually to go to our website, aboveandbeyondthemovie.com, and go, there's a listing, screenings. We're also in film festivals all over the place. I think we're in over 70 film festivals, and we're doing screenings for organizations in different cities. So, the idea is you make a film, you want it to get seen. So we're doing our best to get
I have a technical question. How would it be determined whether you have a theatrical release or television release, or like the HBO is? It seems like now a lot of the films, especially in the documentary kind, are seen on television.
Right. Well, there's a few things. First of all, part of theatrical, there's two parts. One is, do you have the money to open theatrically? And second, do the theaters want you? Because they don't want you if they're not going to make money. I mean, bottom line is that's what the theater owners want. And that's a sad issue because there's so many wonderful documentaries that disappear.
But Nancy, I thought they make it on the popcorn and all the junk that they sell.
Yeah, listen, I know what it costs to have those popcorns. That's definitely where they make it.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I went to the movies the other day to see American Sniper.
Right.
They raised the price because they now have fancy seats that you can practically lay down on like a lounge. And then I bought a Dove ice cream pop and a small popcorn. And the popcorn and the little ice cream Dove, which is about maybe 2 ounces, was $11.
Yes, I know. You have to sneak your food in. Don't you know that trick?
I know, but I'm trying to be honest.
I did that as a kid. We used to sneak in the Good and Plenty because that lasted a long time.
You tell them you have food allergies. Listen, for me, I keep kosher. Truthfully, I'll eat popcorn everywhere, but if I say, well, I'm bringing in the kosher popcorn, they don't give me a rough time.
Now, look, at these showings in L.A. and South Florida, are you going to be there to, usher in the crowd or make a speech out front or what?
I'm going to sit there ringing a bell. Yes, in New York, I'm actually going to attend opening weekend, a Saturday night screening, and a couple on Super Bowl Sunday and do Q&As. And in Los Angeles, I'm also going to attend one on Saturday night, February 7th, and on February 8th, I'm attending one in Santa Monica, and in the evening one in Encino. You know, I really feel so uplifted from the audience and their response. I love to hear. I like to watch them watch the film. It's just so inspiring.
Well, Nancy, I used to do, a lifetime ago, I used to do documentaries when there was no really market for them. Right. But I found out that the documentaries, if they're a theatrical release, basically are only seen by people who really care about the subject or know about it. Right. They're not seen by the people sometimes you want to expose to something new, which again, if you have an HBO or Showtime or History Station, then it's seen by everybody. People who aren't necessarily, might just come across it by circumstance.
Correct. Well, also we are just signing, which it'll be announced, I think, this week in Sundance. We are signing a distribution deal with a company that will put the film out there, so it's for broadcast. You know, they basically reach out to everybody. Netflix, iTunes. Okay. Netflix is a huge market for docs these days, and iTunes is also incredible because people can, they can stream it, they can download it when they want to download it. So that will all be coming out in the next few months.
Nancy, have you entered this into, I guess they call exhibits or contests where you can get awards?
Well, in the film festivals, sometimes the film festivals decide that it's up for competition. So it's not really my choice. So in film festivals, we've won several audience awards, and as I said, we're still in festivals. I'm not going to be home. I'm going tomorrow to Atlanta, and I'm going to come home at some point to change my underwear, and then I'm hitting the road again.
Nancy, I've been trying to get you on the show for over a year, and your schedule has been insane.
I know. My dog doesn't know me anymore. He barks at me when I come home, I'm a stranger.
Yeah, real briefly, I know we were discussing before, Malcolm and I, what was your life as a kid? Did you want to do this as a kid, or did you just get this inspiration in 2011 when this pilot passed away?
Well, our lives as kids, as siblings, the Spielberg siblings, were around film, but not by choice. My brother forced us into it,
You have a brother that's sort of known in the industry. What's his name again? I forget it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say. What's his name? That's his name.
Yeah, we kind of think we heard of him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, has he seen your film, and has he made any critical statements to you?
Well, the funny thing is that I didn't want to show it to him too early on because I really sort of didn't want to hear what he had to say until I was ready to hear, to listen to him and take notes. So,
and what about now?
Oh, well, he saw it and he absolutely loved it. He said I made him cry. He is so very proud.
That's good.
He's so proud.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice to have your family's approval, and I guess it's nice to have Steven Spielberg's approval also.
Now, I have a question for you. You'll be in L.A. December 6th, 7th, 8th, and then you'll be in South Florida like February 13th, 14th, 15th.
Well, I'm not going to South Florida. I'm sorry.
You're not going to South Florida, but you're going to L.A.
I will be in L.A., and I'm also celebrating my father's 98th birthday
Wow.
while I'm there.
Fantastic.
So, I know.
Are you going to come to our show in person? We'd love to see you.
Well, we were talking about it, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to book it, but we'll talk about it, because I think there's a Tuesday.
Oh, but by the way, do you have a website that we could go to or our audience could go to?
Yes, the best website is aboveandbeyondthemovie.com. And we are posting all the information about distribution. We also have lots of photos. We're amassing stories of other volunteers that we couldn't put in the movie because there's such incredible stories that you just can't cram into, your documentary. So it's hard. It's hard to edit, but you got to edit these things.
I have two more questions, Nancy.
Yes, sir.
Number one, I want to go to the L.A. show, first of all, to see you in person. But if I bring kosher popcorn, will they let me in?
I'll try and sneak you in.
Well, where are you going to have it? What theater?
It's playing at the Sundance Sunset. It's also playing matinees at the Royal, which I think is in Santa Monica, and it's playing in Encino. So,
the Laemmle?
Not the. You know what? Isn't it terrible that I just forgot the name of the theater in Encino?
Okay, we'll be there.
All right.
Now the question I have for you is, you in the documentary you talk about the beginning of the Air Force. How far do you take this? Do you take it to modern times, to today, or?
It's a good question because I actually was filming on bases. The commander of the Israeli Air Force gave me incredible access. I was deaf from running on the tarmac with Skyhawks and F-16s. But when we put the film together, we did not take it to modern day. It felt different. It felt aggressive. And this film is a wonderful story about these guys and what they did. And it's not a military film per se. Yes, it's about these guys who helped create the Israeli Air Force, who helped, save Israel at its time of birth. But it's really about the guys. And we wanted to stay focused on them. And that was tough. So in the end, you will see some great footage of when the credits are rolling, but we really took it to the point where one of my guys in the film trained the first class of Israeli pilots. And one of his graduates was Dani Shapiro, who was Israel's top test pilot. And so we really end when the Americans sort of pass the baton to the Israelis, and they have their first graduating class of pilots.
So are you planning a sequel to that, taking it to modern time? Because I know Israel has one of the most respected air forces.
Right. It really does. And no, I'm not. First of all, I'm actually starting another documentary called Who Will Write Our History about these archives that were buried in milk cans from the Warsaw Ghetto. And today is Holocaust Remembrance Day, so it's sort of right on, in my head. And I really want to do the feature film on Above and Beyond. So,
or do a feature on that. Interesting.
Because there's so many great stories that I couldn't put into this film. I don't know how long this program is, so I'm not going to go into them.
So you're not going to stay only with documentaries. You're going to graduate yourself.
I may try, but
Yeah, we were just talking during the break about the Kirk Douglas movie where he played. I forget it was.
Cast a Giant Shadow.
Yeah, Cast a Giant Shadow.
Right.
Where he played the I think it was American colonel who came back and fought and helped the Israelis.
Marcus. Mickey Marcus, and he was a volunteer. He was a Machalnik. He was one of these guys. And Kirk actually helped. I did this as a fundraiser, so I had to beg money. And he actually donated some money because it was a very moving time for him to have done that picture when he was in Israel. But that's it. Frank Sinatra plays a bomb chucker. He's literally flying a plane and throwing seltzer bottles out the window and hand grenades. And my pilots told me how they used to do that. They had nothing, so they threw everything out the window.
Now, you said earlier that the Egyptians had a more powerful air force, the Iraqis, everybody, even the Jordanians.
Right.
Why could they not beat them?
Because, there were a few reasons. They had a tremendous Air Force, but they weren't well equipped with extra parts. They also probably weren't hungry enough. The Israelis were cornered, and the Egyptians could fight, and they could fly home and go have a hot steak.
Yeah, so they weren't motivated that it's life or death.
It was not life or death, and there was a lot of infighting and disorganization in some of the Arab armies, and that was to the advantage of the Israelis.
Yeah, but generally, somehow in the back of my mind, I had a feeling that the reason that they didn't succeed is because their pilots really weren't well trained, and the Israeli pilots were, aside from being more motivated, were better trained.
Well, there were very few Israeli pilots. Ezra Weitzman was a pilot trained in the Royal Air Force, and another guy, Modi Alon. Outside of that, the expertise came from these Americans and South African pilots, who really just came off World War II, so they had battle experience. Though they say really that the Air Forces, even though there were dogfights and stuff like that, they probably made their most headway in psychological, stopping the Egyptians who were rolling into Tel Aviv because they thought there were no planes to stop them. So when these Americans attacked them, the column, they psychologically crippled them. And also these cargo planes supplied the Negev, the south of Israel that was completely cut off, with supplies and brought in new soldiers, and that saved the south. So, in so many ways the Air Force helped win the war, but you have to really give credit to the ground troops and, of course, the tremendous loss they took.
Are you an honorary citizen of Israel, or do you have an Israeli passport in addition to an American passport?
I actually do not have either, but I have a daughter living over there right now, a 26-year-old daughter, and I'm an Israel supporter.
You have a 26-year-old daughter?
Yeah, you must have looked at a young picture of me.
So you gave birth when you were about 10?
Right. I started very early. I have a 21-year-old daughter also, but she's not in Israel. She's here in New York.
Oh, but where do you live mainly? Back east or in L.A.?
Yeah, I live in Riverdale. I live in New York, which is like part of the Bronx.
Oh,
but
Riverdale.
I'm in LA a lot.
Riverdale is in the Bronx. I know people that live in Riverdale. They don't say they live in the Bronx. They say, I live in Riverdale.
I know they're snobby.
Yeah.
I'm a little more down to earth, but yeah, Riverdale people don't call
where
they live.
Where did you grow up? In that area or Brooklyn or Manhattan or where?
No, I grew up in Arizona. I'm a redneck Jew,
There are no Jews in Arizona, I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah, there are no Jews in Arizona.
Well, there were until she moved out.
No, I got to tell you something. There were very few. We moved out there when I was just born in 1957. We were the only Jews in the neighborhood. We had some neighbors that called us some very colorful names, which I really couldn't understand. I didn't and obviously kids don't just call somebody dirty Jew because they read about it in a book. These kids didn't read books. They must have heard it in their households.
Of course. They pick it up at home.
Yeah, and that was really, I felt very alienated, and even the pilots that I interviewed in the film, these guys were not connected to their Jewishness, the Jewish guys. They sort of found their Jewishness in the process of what they did going to Israel, realizing, that, and they'd gone through a lot of anti-Semitism in this country in the 30s, so.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I connected a little bit to that part.
It's funny. I have a brother that's it's not religious at all. We're Jewish, but he's not religious at all. But somehow he has a very strong feeling for Israel. It's sort of like there's a certain pride that he has in Israel.
It's genetic.
Maybe it is. I'll tell you, people emailed me. Somebody leaked on the internet a little 7-minute sample reel when I just first started filming, and it had my private email on there, and I got thousands of emails, and over again, I got emails from people that said, I am a bad Jew at best, but this film has given me a sense of pride. So, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I don't know if they're bad Jews or secular Jews. I mean, they may not be religious.
I don't consider anybody a bad Jew, except maybe Madoff. He's the only guy we're not happy with
Did you guys have any money with him? You don't have to answer that. But
okay, thank you. I won't answer.
Well, before we do our break, I have to tell you a very, very quick story.
No, hold the story.
Hold the story?
We'll be right back after the break for a closing segment.
Okay, we'll hold.
Okay, you're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on CRNTalk.com, and we're speaking to Nancy Spielberg, and we'll be right back after this short break. Don't go away.
Every day is Save the Earth Day, and each of us has a part to play. For more information and how you can do your part to save the Earth, contact us at SaveTheWorld.net. That's SaveTheWorld.net.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
The next time you're in Southern California, visit the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas. Riviera, as the name implies, is the ultimate in Calabasas restaurants. There's not even a close second. And what's better suited for the Beverly Hills of the Valley than a Beverly Hills type of restaurant and watering hole without those ridiculous Beverly Hills prices? They're so good. With impeccable service, they probably don't even need this commercial. Even now, it's hard to get a good table except for off hours. But if you really want to treat yourself or your date, call 818-224-2163. That's 818-224-2163. That's the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas, California.
That's our cue.
Okay, I'm back, and I'll mention my name now because I've already mentioned the name of our guest. This is Stan Weisleder on The View from Over Here, and I'm in the studio with Malcom Burman, and we're finishing up with Nancy Spielberg. Nancy, what would you like to say to our listeners about you, yourself, your film, anything?
Your family, Israel, the snowstorm.
Well, first of all, I do want to, because I feel terrible that I did not say the name of the theater in L.A. It is the Lemley, the town center.
Okay, yeah.
So I really want people to come see this film for many reasons, and part of it is that it is a wonderful American story.
Which theater will you be at?
I'm going to be at the Royal in Santa Monica on Sunday morning, February 8th. There's a 10:30 screening. I'll do a Q&A after that. And then I'll be in Encino after there's a 7-something screening. I'll be there after that. I think the screening's at 7:50. But, you know, there's a lot of, it doesn't matter how you feel about Israel, really, because this is a story about Americans and what they did to help other people. But it also is a feeling that gives you a sense of Jewish American pride, of Jewish pride. And it also reminds people who feel, you know, Israel gets a bad rap in the press. This is a time that Israel was voted into statehood, was attacked by every surrounding army, and defended itself. And it's something that we need to remember, that Israel needs to defend itself, you know, when it's attacked. So,
well, yeah, it's a story of the underdog, and you know, no one gave Israel a chance, especially 48 when they initially became independent. They were attacked on all sides.
But even today, there are two standards. There's one standard for Israel and another standard for the rest of the world if you do anything that's off color or off beat.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And, remember that Israel had accepted, there was a partition plan of two states, Israeli, the Jewish state and the Arab state.
Yeah,
and
they accepted and the Arabs refused.
Exactly. So, sometimes things just don't change. It's just that right now, the rules of warfare are dirty, or maybe there aren't any rules on the other side. It's scary.
Well, as we talk on the anniversary of the Holocaust, or the liberation,
right.
There's still more, I think, possibly more anti-Semitism in the world than there was before.
That's because there are more people in the world.
Well, now I think there's a resurgence. My brother right now is in Poland, and he just sent me some pictures, and he was meeting with 100 survivors, and he's tearful because he works so hard on the Shoah Foundation and to try to create tolerance, and then here we have this whole rash of intolerance, coming from extreme groups, and it is scary. Listen, I happen to feel safer in Israel than I do almost anywhere else in the world.
Well, as they say, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not only the intolerance. That will probably continue on forever. But what about the people that absolutely deny that the Holocaust even occurred?
That's a show. That's a topic for another show. But Nancy, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
We're looking forward to meeting you when you come into town and seeing your documentary.
Yeah,
okay,
and I will see you at the preview.
Okay, it's a deal. Thank you.
And keep safe. I hope you're digging out of the snow now.
I am.
You're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on crntalk.com. And not stay tuned. This is the end of the hour.
That's it, Malcolm.
And we're rebroadcast on Saturday and Sunday. Go to CRN and find out what time. I think it's 2 p.m. and 5 p.m.
1 p.m. on Saturday and 5 p.m. on Sunday.
See you next week. Have a great week, guys.
The View from Over Here is a co-production of Infinity X and TBG International. For further information, contact Malcom Burman at 818-687-2784. That's 818-687-2784.
Which is most important because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this?